And good day, everyone. My name is Ian Angelo S. Domingo, and my group mates is Cesar de Guzman and Christian de Glizan. And for today, for today's video, I'm going to explain the tidal energy. So first, let's define what is causes and frequency of tides. Ayan. High and low tides are caused by the moon. The moon gravitational pull generates something called the tidal force. The tidal force causes Earth and its water to bulge out on the sides closest to the moon and the side farthest horn to the moon. This bulge of water are high tides. Most coastal areas with some expectation experience two high tides and two low tides every lunar day. Unlike a solar day, however, a lunar day is 24 hours and 50 minutes. Because the Earth rotates through two tidal bulbs every lunar day, the coastal area experiences two and two low high tides every 24 hours and 50 minutes. High tides occurs 12 hours and 25 minutes ahead. 11 11 takes 6 hours and 12.5 minutes for the water and the soar to go horn high low or horn low to high. So parang sinasabi lang dito kung paano ba yung concept ng low tide and high tide sa dagat. Ayan. So next, causes and frequency of tides pa rin tayo. Ito may tanong dito, if high tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon on Earth, why there would be high tide on the side of the moon or on the side of the Earth opposite to the moon. So ito yung sagot dyan. The high tide on the side of Earth facing the moon is called the high tide. The high tide caused by the bulge on the opposite side of Earth is called the low high tide. A low high tide may be understood as the moon tidal force pulling the planet, not the ocean, toward it. So yun. Next, on the side facing the moon, the gravitational attraction between the Earth and the moon is strongest on the side of the Earth that happens to be facing the moon. Simply because it is closer, the attraction causes the water on this near side on the Earth to be pulled toward the moon. A gravitational force acts draw the water closer to the moon. Inertia attempts to keep water in the place, but the gravitational force exceeds it and the water is pulled toward the moon, causing a bulge of water in the near side toward the moon. Ayan. Next, on side opposite the moon. So ito, opposite naman siya nung kanina. On the opposite side of Earth or the far side, the gravitational attraction of the moon is less because it is farther away. Here, inertia exceeds the gravitational force and the water highs to keep going in a straight line, ripping away the Earth, also forming a bulge. Gravity and inertia act in opposite on the Earth ocean, creating tidal bulge on opposite seas of the planet. So, dahil sa gravitational force and inertia, nagkakaroon tayo ng high tide and low tide. Dahil parang nahatak nila yung, ayun nga, parang merong attraction between moon and our planet. Ayan. On the near side of the Earth, side facing the moon, the gravitational force of the moon pulls the ocean's water toward it, creating one bulge on the fair side of Earth. Inertia dominates, creating a second bulge. So, next. So, ocean energy, the tidal power station. Working principle. Tidal energy is created using the movement of our tides and ocean. So, yung tidal power daw or yung tidal energy, nagmumula siya sa movement ng alon, ng tubig sa oceans or pwede rin sa mga rivers. Ayan. Where the intensity of the water from rise and fall of tides is form of kinetic energy. Tidal power surrounds um, gravitational hydropower, which use the movement of water to push a turbine to generate electricity. So, imagine na lang yung mga windmill sa may Ilocos. Parang ganun lang din yung tidal power or tidal energy. Di ba sa windmill ang ginagamit is hangin. So, sa tidal power naman or sa tidal energy, ang ginagamit diyan is yung movement ng water. Halimbawa pag umaalon, di ba? Doon nagkakaroon ng interaction or attraction doon sa may sa mismong tawag dito, yung mismong umiikot sa windmill, ganun din yung sa may hydro o sa tidal power, kapag inagusyan siya ng tubig, iikot siya, and kapag umikot siya, nakapag-generate siya ng electricity. So, ganun lang. So, meron tatlong types of tidal power. Ito, isa na nga rito yung tidal stream generator, tidal barrage, and tidal lagoon. So, first is tidal stream generator. So, ano ba yung tidal stream generator? Tidal stream generator are very similar to wind turbines. So, sabi ko kanina, parang wind turbines lang sila, yung gaya ng mga windmills sa may Ilocos. So, except they are below the water surface instead above on land. The water current pushes the blades of turbine, which is connected to generator that create electricity. So, yun nga, kapag merong umaagos yung tubig, and yung dahil sa pag-agos ng tubig na yon, yung blades ng turbines iikot siya, and nagkakaroon ng electricity. So, tandaan nyo lang, sa tidal stream generator, parang windmill lang siya or wind turbines. Ang pagkakaiba lang nila, yung tidal stream generator sa tubig siya, and yung wind turbines sa land. Ayan, sa may gagamitan ng wind. Ayan. Tidal stream generator are able to produce much more electricity than wind power plants, mainly because water is much denser than air. However, water high density also means that tidal turbines need to be much stronger than wind turbines, making them more expensive to manufacture. So, gaya ka na sabi ko, yung wind turbines, dahil sa wind ang ginagamit sa kanya, yung tidal turbines naman, mas magastos siya kasi nasa ilalim siya ng tubig. Imaginein mo, halimbawa, bakal yung blades niya. Siyempre, pwede i-maintenance yun. Kapag lagi siyang sa ilalim ng tubig, siyempre, magkakaroon din ng mga kalakalawang yan, itawag dito, lilinisin, i-maintenance, ganyan. Kaya, mahal siya. And kailangan mas matibay siya dahil nga mas denser siya. Ayan. Next, tidal stream generator turbines are large, but they create relatively little distribution to the ecosystem around them as compared to tidal barrage. The world's first tidal stream generator was constructed in 2007. So, take note of this, at Strongford Lough in Northern Ireland. So, yan. So, ito yung example nung kung paano mag-work yung tidal stream generator. So, ayan, mapansin nyo, may ito yung sea level, ito yung agos ng dagat or kahit sa river man yan, and dahil sa pag-agos na yun, iikot tong ating tidal stream or yung tidal blades natin, and because of that, kaya nakakapag-generates ng electricity. And meron ding dahil nga na umiikot yan, nakakapag-form siya ng electricity, and mapupunta siya and yun nga, makapag-generate siya ng electricity sa atin. Ayan, tandaan nyo lang tong concept na to na ang tidal stream generator um, parang windmill lang, yung sabi ko kanina parang windmill lang. Ang magkakaiba lang niya is ang tidal stream generator sa tubig siya and yung windmill is sa hangin. So yun. And ito yung types of tidal stream generator. So meron tayong horizontal and vertical. Ayan. Next. So ito yung kauna-unahang tidal energy generator. Ito yung Strangford Lock. Ayan. Ganito yung itsura niya. Ayan. Next is tidal barrage. Tidal barrage are low one dams usually installed as tidal inlets or estuaries. Similar to traditional hydroelectric dams, sluice gates are used to create a reservoir on one side of the barrage. The barrage is secure to the sea floor, while on the top of the barrage is just slightly above where the water level hits during the highest tide. So, yung tidal barrage, parang ito yung, sabi nga rito, parang kamukha siya ng mga hydroelectric dams natin, gagaya nung sa Pantabangan, ganyan. Tidal turbines are located towards the bottom of the barrage inside a tunnel which allow water to flow through. So yun. Next. Tidal barrage. Tidal barrage look like traditional hydropower dams. Sabi nga natin kanina, turbines located along the bottom of the barrage are turned with incoming and outgoing tides. During an incoming high tide, water flows over the turbines as the water rises. Then the water flows back through the turbines as it's become low tide. The turbines are connected to a generator which produces the electricity. After a construction phase lasting 5 years, the Rance Tidal Power Station was opened on 26th of November 1996. It was the first power station to take advantage of tidal water flow to produce electricity. So, yung Rance Tidal Power Station, ito yung pinakauna na power station of tidal water flow na nagpo-produce ng electricity sa atin. So, may picture dito. Ito yung Rance Tidal Power Barrage sa France. Ayan. And parang kamukha lang siya ng mga dams natin na nahati. Parang iniipon yung tubig sa kabila. And merong turbine sa loob ng dams na yon na nag-generate ng electricity. Ayan. Isa pa tong example, yung Siwa Lake Tidal Power Station. Ayan. And ito yung example ng tidal barrage kung paano ba nag-work yung tidal barrage. Ayan. Pansin nyo dito, tidal barrage flood generation. Ayan. Ito. Iniipon nila yung tubig dito sa may dito sa kabilang side, then merong opening ng water dito sa baba, which is andun yung turbine, and kapag lumabas yung tubig dito sa mismong opening na to, iikot tong turbine, and kapag umikot tong turbine, doon puproduce ng electricity. So, yun. And ito pa yung example, yung Siwa Lake Tidal Power Station. Imagine nyo lang, napakalaki nung power station nila. Ayan. Ayan. Siwa Lake Tidal Power Station. Parang isang subdivision na siya sa laki. Ayan. Ito pa yung isa kanina, yung Rance Tidal Power Barrage in France.
Hello, I'm Cartier L. de Guzman, and I'm going to report tidal power. Tidal power, ito yung tinatawag ding tidal energy. Yung tidal energy, itong any form of renewable energy in which tidal action is converted to electric power. Tidal lagoon. A new tidal energy design option is to construct circular retaining walls embedded with turbines that can capture the potential energy of tides. The created reservoir are similar to those of tidal barrage, except that the location is artificial and does not contain a pre-existing ecosystem. The cancelled tidal lagoon, Swansea Bay in Wales, United Kingdom, would have been the first tidal power station of this type once built. Ano nga ba ang advantage of tidal energy? Una nga dito ay ang renewable. Tidal energy is a renewable source of energy, which means the energy doesn't deplete as it is used. Pangalawa, zero carbon emission. In addition to being a renewable energy source, tidal power stations do not emit the greenhouse gases during electricity generation. Pangatlo, ang predictable. Tidal currents are highly predictable. Low and high tides follow well-known cycles, making it easier to know when power will be produced throughout the day. And yung last ay high power output. Tidal power plants are able to produce high amounts of electricity. One of the main reasons for this is because water is so dense, almost 800 times more dense than air. This means that a tidal turbine will produce substantially more energy than a wind turbine of the same size. Ano naman ang disadvantage of tidal energy? Una nga dito ay ang limited installation sites. In order for a tidal power plant to be built, the potential installation site must meet very specific requirements. First, they need to be located on a coastline which limits potential station sites to coastal states. There are additional requirements potential sites must meet. For example, tidal power stations need be built in places where the difference in height between high and low tides is significant enough to power turbines. This limits where the power stations can be installed, making it difficult for tidal power to be implemented widely. Ano pa? Sa environmental effects, ito yung tidal barrage disrupt the natural flow of water in and out of estuaries. This can have an effect on marine life, disrupting life cycles and spawning. Underwater turbines have the potential to kill marine life, much like wind turbines kill bird, which concerns is valid amongst all tidal power plants. But larger marine life is likely to only be affected by tidal stream generators. In runs, since the tidal barrage construction needed to drain the estuary in the initial years after the construction was complete, there were severe impacts to the local environment. However, 10 years later, it was considered that the Rance estuary once again had a rich diversity of aquatic life. After the seawall was built in 1994, pollution built up in the newly created Siwa Lake Reservoir, making its water useless for agriculture. Concentrations of perfluorooctane sulfonate measured in Lake Siwa were among the greatest ever measured in the environment. And yung last, the future of tidal energy. Yung future niya ng tidal energy has the potential to offer all the power we need, eliminating the need for fossil fuels. As stated by CIMIC Atlantis Energy, the tide moves a huge amount of water twice a day. Harnessing it could provide a great deal of energy, around 20% of Britain's need. So yun lang.
Hydroelectric power plant or hydropower. Working principle. Hydropower plants capture the energy of falling water to generate electricity. A turbine converts the kinetic energy of the falling water into mechanical energy. Then a generator converts the mechanical energy from a turbine into electrical energy. Ito yung mga river na nakapalob sa hydropower. Yung mga ang una dyan is Tacory. Tapos ang country niya is Brazil. And ang river niya is Tocantins. And install capacity niya is 8,370. And years of implementation niya is 1984 and 2007. Next is Grand Coulee. And yung country niya is United States. And the river niya is Colombia. And yung install capacity niya is 6,809. And yung years completion niya is 1942 or 1950, 1973, 1975 or 1980, 1983 or 1984, and 1991. Next is Xiangjaba. And yung country niya is China. And ang river niya is Jinshan. Tapos ang install capacity niya is 6,448. And yung years completion niya is 2014. Next is Longtan Dam. And sa China din yung country niya. And yung river niya is Hongsley. And ang install capacity niya is 6,426. And yung river completion niya is 2007 or 2009. And last is Sayamo Sushenka. Ang country niya is Russia. And the river niya is Yenisei. Ang install capacity niya is 6,400. And yung years completion niya is 1985 or 1989 and 2010 or 2014. And yung Three Gorge Dam, sa China rin siya yung country niya is China din. And yung river niya is Yangtze. Tapos ang install capacity niya is 22,500. And yung years completion niya is 2008 or 2012. Next is Itaipu Dam. And yung country niya is Paraguay, Brazil. And yung river niya is Paraná. Ang install capacity niya is 14,000 and yung years completion niya is 1984 or 1991 and 2003. Next is Siludo. Yung country niya is China and yung river niya is Jinsha. Ang install capacity niya is 13,860 and yung years completion niya is 2014. Next is Belmonte. Ang country niya is Brazil and yung river niya is Xingu. Ang install capacity niya is 11,233 and yung years completion niya is 2016 and 2019. Last is Gori and country niya is Venezuela and ang river niya is Caroli. Ang install capacity niya is 10,235 and years completion niya is 1978 and 1986. Next, Magat Dam. The Magat Dam is hydroelectric power plant. It is one of the largest hydro facilities in Luzon, with a maximum output of 380 MW. The construction of the dam started at in 1975 and was completed in 1982. It is one of the largest dam in the Philippines. It is a multi-purpose dam which is used primarily for irrigation about 85,000 hectares or 210,000 acres of agricultural lands and power generation through the Dabagat Hydroelectric Power Plant. The dam is located within the boundaries of Namiliangan, Alfonso Lista, Ifugao, and Ramon Isabela. Note: Giljan Combined Cycle Power Plant and Sowal Power Station of the largest in Philippines with generating capacity of 1,200 MW. Luzon Grid has a total capacity of 14,248 MW, and 3 George Dam is in China has a capacity of 22,500 MW. How it operates. So in dam is most hydropower plant rely on the dam that hold back water, creating a large reservoir of often this reservoir is a use of recreational lake such as a Lake Roosevelt at the Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State. Next is intake. Gates on the dam open the gravity pulls the water through the penstock, a pipeline that leads to the turbine. Water build of pressure as a flow through this pipe. Turbine. The water is strike that turns a large blades turbine which attach to a generator above by way of the shaft. Last generator. Add the turbine blades turn so the series magnets inside generator. A giant magnets rotate past copper coils, producing alternating current AC by moving electrons. You'll learn more about how generator works later. And ito yung hydropower plant sa may loob. Yung nandun yung reservoir, dam, generator, transformer, powerhouse, power lines, outflow, turbine, penstock, control gate, and intake. At ito naman yung nasa labas niya, nandun naman yung mga fish ladder, transmission, powerhouse, turbine, outflow, drop tube, generator, transformer, control gate, penstock, trash rack intake, and reservoir. And construction. The construction of this dam is difficult and labor intensive. Before construction begins, water is delivered to prevent from moving through the construction site. After water is diverted, the foundation area is cleaned, excavated, and the rock sediments that will act as the foundation is repaired to deemed solid. This is done to ensure the rock or sediments won't shift or fail as a result of the load of the dam and reservoir. Support known as rock bolts that may be used to strengthen the foundation. Above the dam, rock bolts and netting may used to prevent rocks from falling on the dam. Forms are then built along the edge of the dam. Rebar is placed inside and concrete to pump in. This is done in section, and the concrete is poured bit by bit is a block formation. Once enough of the dam is built, the reservoir is allowed to fill highly controlled manner. The dam is monitored during this process. Other structures that make dam operational are then added. Then ito yung hydropower dam design. Nandiyan yung head water level, tail water level. Main factors determines the dam power output. Then ito yung output yung pinaka-output niya. The amount of electricity hydropower plant procedures depend on two factors. First factor is how far the water falls. The further the water falls, the more power it has. Generally, the distance that water falls depend on the size of the dam. The higher the dam, the farther water falls has. Scientists will say that the power of falling water is directly proportional to the distance it falls. In other words, water falling twice as much energy. Next is amount of water falling. More water falling through the turbine will produce more power. The amount of water available depends on the amount of water flowing down the river. Bigger rivers have more flowing water and can produce more energy. Power is also directly proportional to river flow. A river with a twice the amount of flowing waters on another river can produce twice much energy. Tallest dam. Currently, the tallest dam in the world is Nurik Dam on the Baksh River, Tajikistan. It is 984 feet or 300 meters tall. Hoover Dam is 726.4 feet or 221.3 meters tall. Today, Hoover Dam will still rank in the top 20 of the tallest dam in the world, but only in the concrete, gravity, and arc categories. Then hydropower plant or hydropower. Ito yung mga dam failures. Ito yung Banqiao Dam sa Henan, China. 1975, Banqiao Dam failures, 26,000 dead from flooding and 145,000 dead from subsequent famine and epidemics. 11 million homeless. Cause loss of generation, the dam failed by overtopping in 2,000 year flood, and ito yung 1975. Next is Mako Dam, and ito sa Mako, India. The Mako Dam collapse, leading to delicate of the city of Morbi and the surrounding rural areas. 1,800 to 25,000 people were killed in ito yung year 1979. Last is Overville Dam. Ito yung sa California, United States. Damage spillway caused evacuation of 180,000 in year 2017.
Geothermal power plant. Definition ng geothermal power plant are used in order to generate electricity by the use of geothermal energy, the Earth's internal thermal energy. They essentially work the same as a coal, solar thermal, or nuclear power plant. The main difference being the heat source. Working principles. Geothermal power plants are used in order to generate. There is a natural source of power found below the surface of the earth. that has been around for centuries. Underground, far below us, there are pools of water heated by magma or molten rocks. These pools of water make up our geothermal reservoir, harnessing the power of the Earth's temperatures to power, heat, or cool our homes and businesses is the essence of geothermal power. Save on energy. Next. Ito lang. Ito yung ranking of largest geothermal plants worldwide as January 21, 2021 in megawatts. Ito nga sa United States nangunguna, the geysers. Mga pangalawa ay Larderello sa Italy. Pangatlo ay ang Mexico sa Cerro Prieto. Pang-apat sa atin sa Philippines sa Macban. Yung panglima sa Iceland sa Hellishöy. Next, sa atin ulit sa Philippines, Malitbog. At ang pampito sa United States sa Salton Sea. At pangwalo sa Philippines ulit sa Tiwi. At pang-9 sa Indonesia sa Darahat. At pang-10 pinakahuli sa Indonesia sa Wayango Windu. Ito naman sa top 10 geothermal countries. Installed capacity MW July 2019, 14,900 MW in total. Naunguna ang United States na may bilang na 3,653. Mapangalawa ang Indonesia sa 1,948. Pangatlo yung Philippines 1,868. Pang-apat sa Turkey 1,347. Sa panglima sa New Zealand 1,005. At pang-anim ang Mexico 951. Pang-pito ang Italy 944. Pang-walo ay ang Kenya 763. Pang-siyam ay ang Iceland 755. Pang-sampo ay ang Japan 549. At yung others 1,011. Ito sa Mukban Power Plant. Ito ang itsura niya. At dito sa The Geysers Geothermal Complex. Ito. Ideal location. Yung mga location nila, the most active geothermal resources are usually found along major tectonic plate boundaries where most volcanoes are located. One of the most active geothermal areas in the world is called the Ring of Fire, which encircles the Pacific Ocean. Ideal location when magma comes near the Earth's surface. It heats groundwater trapped in porous rock of water running along fractured rock surfaces and faults. Hydrothermal features have two common ingredients: water, tinatawag na nating hydro, and heat, thermal. Geologists use various methods to find geothermal reservoir. Drilling as well and testing the temperature deep underground is the most reliable method for locating a geothermal reservoir. These reservoirs are deep underground and are largely undetectable above ground. Itong geothermal energy find its way to the Earth's surface in three ways: volcano and fumaroles, holes in the earth where volcanic gases are released, hot spring geysers. Ito kung saan matatagpuan sa volcanoes and fumaroles. Ito yung picture niya. At dito sa hot spring, ito yung geysers. Itong dry steam power plant, dry steam plants are the most common types of geothermal power plants, accounting for about half of the installed geothermal plants. They work by piping hot steam from underground reservoirs directly into turbines from geothermal reservoirs, which power the generators to provide electricity. After powering the turbines, The steam condenses into water and is piped back into the earth via the injection well. Save on energy. Ito yung picture niya, yung turbines. Ay ito muna generating facility, pupunta sa turbines and steam rising production well. Tapos itong condenser cold water. Tapos ito yung injection well. Flash steam power plant. Flash steam plants differ from dry steam because they pump hot water rather than steam directly to the surface. These flash steam plants pump hot water at a high pressure from below the earth into a flash tanks on the surface. The flash tank is at a much lower temperature, causing the fluid to quickly flash into steam. The steam produces power and powers the turbines. The steam is cooled and condenses into water, where it is pumped back into the ground through the injections. Makikita natin, sinabi na ipapump back down ng condenser. Binary cycle power plant. In these binary cycle plants, the main difference is that the water of steam from below the earth never comes in direct contact with the turbines. Instead, water from geothermal reservoirs is pumped through a heat exchanger, where it heats a second liquid like isobutene, which boils at a lower temperature than water. This second liquid is heated into steam, which powers the turbines that drives a generator. The hot water from the earth is recycled into the earth through the injection well, and the second liquid is recycled through the turbine and back into the heat exchanger where can be used again. Tulad nga sinabi. Next is ang construction cost. The initial cost of geothermal power plant construction is high, but operational costs soon become relatively low. This means that even though geothermal energy becomes financially worthwhile in the end, the cost of power plants construction may put geothermal energy out of the questions. Ano nga ba ang advantage nila? Some advantages of geothermal power includes its sustainability and consistency. Geothermal energy is renewable, so it's both more environmentally friendly and less susceptible to natural resource wars than fossil fuels are. Geothermal can consistently produce energy output 24/7, regardless of weather conditions or seasonal changes. Ano nga naman ang disadvantage nito? The disadvantage of geothermal power are the geographic limitations and the high cost associated with power plant construction. This needs to be built over regions with underground reservoir of hot steam of water. Through it's technically possible to engineer enhanced geothermal system. In suitable environments, it's highly impractical to do so. EGS requires extensive space planning, construction, government oversight, and capital, and can only be accomplished by federal or state governments and corporations.